it's hard to remain elusive in the 2020s now. Like we couldn't start a band like this now without it being exposed. But I think it's for them to the fact that they've kept up the charade of the masks and the image in itself is impressive.
The masquerade, if you will.
Hey! Hello! Welcome to Believe, the Conspiracy Theory Podcast. I'm Phil Green.
And I'm David Ferguson.
And this is a podcast all about the world's craziest conspiracy theories, isn't it?
Or it's about revealing the truth for your delectation.
Exactly. That is what we are here to do. We are two comedians presenting a podcast all about the world's craziest conspiracy theories. And in each episode, we bring on a fellow comedian. And that comedian has picked a conspiracy theory they want to talk about. It might be a conspiracy theory they believe. It might be a conspiracy theory they don't believe. Or it might just be a conspiracy theory they think is fucking mental and they want to know how it started in the first place. And that is what...
That's what we do.
That's what we do.
We're here to discuss it.
We help clear the fog, don't we?
We do.
Absolutely.
We do.
If you've got any conspiracy theories you want to talk about, get in contact.
Oh, yeah. You could email us.
What? What's our email address?
Our email address is believeconspiracypod@gmail.com. And we would love you to email us.
We would, absolutely. You can also get us on social media. Which social media channels are we on?
Well, we're definitely on YouTube. I know that. We're definitely on TikTok.
Yeah.
And we're definitely on Instagram.
That's right. It's at Believe Conspiracy Pod, same as the email. Let us know what you think about the conspiracy theories we've been talking about. Like, comment on our videos. We want to know what your opinion is, don't we?
Absolutely.
Now, if you want to come and see us do some live podcast recorded shows, you could do that. Not here, as in like in a live environment with an audience and everything. It's going to be a lot of fun. Go into the show notes of any of our shows. You will find a link in there. We will be taking this bastard on tour and we would love to see you there because really it would be a bit lonely if we hire all that and there's no crowd.
Oh, that's a story.
It's a story.
It's a story I don't want to go through.
That said, we've done the Edinburgh Fringe. We know what that feels like.
Yeah, you got to believe.
Yeah, indeed. We're also doing our own stand-up shows as well. Yeah. We'll put the links for those shows in our show notes as well. So please click on that if you want to come and see us live. Now, we should give a big shout out to our tech.
Oh, we should, because we wouldn't be able to do the show without him.
We wouldn't be able to do the show without him. It's a wonderful George.
Yay!
And who is today's wonderful guest?
Today's guest is one of the greatest comedians in the United Kingdom. It's that simple. It's William Stone.
William Stone, the wonderful William Stone. Will is a BBC New Comedy Award finalist. He is a Leicester Square Comedian of the Year finalist. He's written for Mock the Week, The News Quiz, Newsjack. He's been on BBC Three sketches. Next up is Doorstep Comedy. He's performed live stand-up on Radio 4, Radio 2. He's been all over the place, hasn't he?
Not OnlyFans. He hasn't been on OnlyFans. Yet. I've checked multiple times.
But it's comedy. You never know when you're going to need the cash.
Yeah.
And what is the conspiracy that William wants to talk about?
William's going to talk about the Slipknot deception.
The Slipknot deception. Let's bring on Will.
Get out of the rabbit hole.
It's a fake. Every single bird in the sky is a robot.
It's fiction.
Doubt your government.
They're trying to brainwash you.
It's an urban legend.
If they're actually spraying something in the sky.
No way.
A stream of absurdity.
It's a total fabrication.
Welcome to the podcast, William Stone!
Yay!
A lethargic energy on the hottest day of the year so far.
You've picked a good day. I am very low energy.
Oh my God. We all sprinted it because we were all late.
Yes.
And we were all dripping with sweat.
Yeah.
Disgusting day.
Yeah. I'm
I hope that's
puddle
getting
of a
picked up in the video and the audio.
Yeah, yeah. That's what we do it for. They like it. They like it. I was going to say the OnlyFans people. You referenced OnlyFans in the intro, but the YouTubers they love the sweat.
Extra content, yeah.
Extra content, absolutely. Yes, exactly.
Well, OnlyFans is starting to trying to branch out onto other things, including comedy.
They did that competition last year, didn't they?
Oh yeah, wasn't it like there was a massive prize for that as well?
Mary O'Connell
grand,
won.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, so it is like, as much as I was making the joke, because, look at Will. Oh, you're okay. But
You might be
and he's married, which is really bad. I shouldn't be.
He's doing his best to convert.
But they're trying to do the comedy thing. So
Yeah.
I think it went from being so for people who don't know, and you probably don't, there's a comedy competition called OnlyFans comedy competition or something along those lines, and I think it was 10 grand, but then it went to like 100 grand.
Oh really?
Yeah,
they
massive.
upped it, didn't they?
Yeah, they
Yes,
upped
that's
it
right,
during the season. It's amazing. I think Mary O'Connell won it, didn't she?
She did, yeah. It's great.
because OnlyFans want to rebrand what they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a shorthand. Like people use it as a punchline to mean like, oh, you're not, like.
It's quite a deviation into comedy. Like that's quite the left turn.
Well, you're wanting to get an emotional response from someone on OnlyFans.
Yeah.
And how you do that,
Yeah.
it's up to you.
I was going to say I could just carry on doing what I do, and I can either do it as comedy and elicit sexual gratification for people,
Yeah.
or try and do the opposite, I'd probably get a lot of laughs. So it's kind of win-win for me, you know.
I mean, you don't know people aren't getting sexually gratified by your comedy already.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a reason Joe Sutherland dressed you the way that he did. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
us homosexuals see prime beef when we see it.
Oh,
you know.
man, that was you're referring to the BBC Three Quickie.
Oh my God.
Where that was the first time I'd ever done anything like on camera, and the sketch was Queer Eye UK. Like, what if they filmed it in the UK?
Yeah.
And because I mean, I would have done it anyway, I think, but because I was just really eager to, like, oh yeah, great, I had to get to be in like a BBC Three Quickie, and it's my first like filmed thing.
Yeah.
But not thinking ahead to like what that would entail, which was dressing me up in his vision of what would help me, you know, to give me a glow up.
So what did he make you wear?
Pretty much a Speedo and a string vest.
It was beautiful.
Oh, I think this was on Brighton Beach.
No, that was a different one.
That was a different one.
Yeah, but I mean, that was a different weekend.
Oh,
but,
okay.
yeah,
There were no cameras set for that.
I don't know how you saw that, but well done. Yeah, and it wasn't just the filming is one thing, but then just the sitting around for like retake after retake.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like they did give me like a robe, and I did put it on, but it still was just I felt very exposed. Yeah.
What do you do for the sake of the art?
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Commitment. And you had a surprising reaction from an audience recently on one of your jokes.
Yeah. It's an oldish one, but I have this joke where basically I say, my dad was a funeral director. Nothing you'd have seen, you know, right? And it's such a short joke that
It's
normally
such a good joke.
Oh, thanks. Well, it's really short, and I've never had any interaction from it.
Yeah.
But obviously, it never occurred to me there are funeral directors out there.
Yeah.
Which I found out when I did this gig in Essex, and I just did the first bit, which was my dad was a funeral director, and this table just like erupts, and I was like, "You're all right over there?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, we're funeral directors. We're here on like a jolly." And I was like, "Oh wow!" And then I tried to do the punchline, forgetting that it requires people to remember what I said in the first bit.
Yeah.
But that rarely happens because a lot of my jokes are so short. There's not room for people to kind of jump in. You know?
Yeah.
So, and then, but the greatest bit was then after the show, they came up to me and gave me a business card for their funeral director. Which is like, you know, people say, "Oh, you've got to do these weird little out of town gigs. You never know who you'll meet." And it's like, yeah, I met a funeral director and they gave me a business card. That's the biggest like lead I've had from doing live comedy.
I mean, we all need them at some point.
Well, it's true, yeah. But also, yeah, I mean, the odds of me arranging my own
Yeah.
is
Slim.
I mean, we won't go down that path because that's pretty bleak. But yeah, well, you know, you gotta play the game, I guess. If you're a funeral director, get those customers in.
Cool. So, conspiracy theories, Will.
Yeah.
How do you feel about conspiracy theories? Are you interested in them? Do you find some of them interesting? How do you feel about conspiracy theorists?
I think the conspiracy theories are a conspiracy theory. No, I don't, imagine though, because like that would like if there's something
layered.
really bad going on, so
Yeah.
they distract us. They set up these made up ones like Bigfoot, so we get distracted from the real problems.
Yeah.
I do agree.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, it's a bit like the term UFO. It means unidentified flying object. So if something's unidentified, it's unidentified. Doesn't mean it's necessarily alien. So saying like, I don't believe in UFOs, it's like, well, there are unidentified flying objects, whether they're aliens or not is a different matter. It's the same with conspiracy theories. There are conspiracy theories and there are things that are just, you know, nonsense.
Yeah.
You know, so the conspiracy theories exist. Whether the ones we hear about exist, I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's almost like an answer, wasn't it?
It's almost an answer.
Yeah.
But it is something we said before on this, in fact, is that sometimes the conspiracy is the conspiracy. It is a distraction from what's going on in the world. And it's not quite easy to do that, especially when it's a big event. 9/11 we talked about quite a lot, but it's very easy to just...
What was that?
We'll tell you about it later. But it is easy to just feed a narrative out through media, through social media now particularly, and people start talking about it, and then we'll go and do this bad thing while you're all looking over here.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Is it a bit like a false flag? Is that the same thing?
false flags are a military operation.
Yeah, but kind of like a political version of that, which I guess is still political, but you know.
Yeah, it's running interference. It's that what is it, dead cat?
Yeah, dead cat theory. Yeah, where you're talking about a subject and you want to. It's a political term, that isn't it? It's where you're talking about a subject and you want to completely distract people. You slam a dead cat on the table. Everyone starts talking about a dead cat.
Right.
Everyone's completely, and then it just knocked out the conversation.
This is metaphorically, like
Yeah.
we're not,
Yeah.
not an actual dead.
Although I
cat,
imagine the Tories sometimes that
Oh
happens.
yeah, well, they obviously eat raw meat.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it'd probably be a dead poor person.
Yeah,
We'll cut
and
that out.
I definitely kill their
cut
own
that out.
meat.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So this conspiracy, and now we've got to be completely honest. I had heard of this, but a very long time ago.
Right.
So I'm glad that you brought it up because it's quite an old one actually. But neither of us know a lot about Slipknot, it is fair to say.
Okay.
But hopefully you know a little bit more. But either way, it doesn't really matter. This is an interesting one. So Slipknot, the Slipknot deception. Slipknot, the renowned American heavy metal band, is known for its aggressive style, theatrical performances, and distinct visual identity characterized by their signature masks and jumpsuits. Formed in Iowa in 1995, Slipknot has cultivated a massive following over the years. Despite their success and visibility, a fascinating theory persists among fans and conspiracy theorists. Slipknot isn't always comprised of the same 9 members. Slipknot frontman Corey Taylor, when asked why there were specifically 9 members of the Slipknot, said, "It just took that many people to get the noise out of our head." A rockfeed post by a Metal Sucks introduced the conspiracy held by Slipknot truthers. That's what they're called.
It's a real thing.
It's a real thing. Which claims that the band actually changes up their live roster consistently, with all members except for Corey Taylor often being replaced by someone of a similar build. Website Mosh Kucha is the central driver of this rumour, claiming that they spoke to a man who toured with the band but was never an official member. Now, like I said, we don't know a lot about Slipknot. To us, this was like the heavy metal version of the Sugababes.
Yeah. That's pretty accurate. Yeah.
But the Sugababes more overt with their changes.
Yeah, well, not as heavy as Sugababes, but I'll give you that.
Yeah. I mean, this one. So, I have you seen Slipknot live?
Yeah, only once actually.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think I can't remember because it was a long time ago, depressingly, whether I already knew that rumor or not.
Yeah.
I don't think I did. So it would have been, I wouldn't have known any different.
Yeah.
I saw them at Leeds Festival 2000.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Early days.
Yeah, and it was their first ever UK festival performance. So they were obviously like jazzed for it, and you could tell, and it was great. And I think they were the headline set, so it was getting on for about 10, and it was just starting to go dark, and then it just started to rain as they started playing, and all these red lights come up. And they had this really like old-timey jazz song playing. Everyone was a bit like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And then it's playing, and it started slowly slowing down. Then it went backwards, and it was and the lyrics in it went 6, 6, 6, 6, 6.
Oh, that's
and everyone was
beautiful.
like, it's also really lame, but it's kind of cool. Yeah.
But that's the thing with Slipknot. They're really lame, but they actually are kind of great.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. Like they work. I was listening. I didn't know any Slipknot stuff, and I was listening to today for this podcast.
Yeah.
And there's a greatest hits run on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I was listening to that, and every song's a banger.
They're bangers, yeah.
I thought they were great. Psychosocial is such a good song.
Yeah.
And what's the song about pushing things into my eyes? Pushing my fingers in my eyes.
Duality.
Yeah, that's so good.
Getting Jungian on your ass.
It was great. I genuinely was like, oh, I think I might get into them.
Yeah. They've got a lot of bangers. So that's the thing is they get a lot of hate from like the in inverted commas like proper metalheads because they're not real metal.
They're not real
you know,
metal, yeah.
Because basically they sell records is what they're.
No, they spoke to me.
But that whole thing of like it's kind of like they kind of get lumped in with new metal because it was around that time and they had like electronic elements to it and. Corey,
But new metalers also don't count Slipknot as new metal, don't they? Like
yeah,
the
exactly.
purists,
Yeah. And I think it's because Corey's singing style. It's not rap, but it's when the bits when he speaks quite. He sings in like a kind of spoken style in the verses, which is quite rhythmic to the point it could pass for rap.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But it's not, and I think because of that ambiguity there, that's why they kind of got lumped in, and the time and the shock value of it and stuff.
I think with Psychosocial sounds like Where Have All the Cowboys Gone by Natalie Cole.
That's what they were going for.
I want someone to do a mashup of those two. I was like, that would really work together.
But they do quite a lot of sampling, don't they? Because I was reading about them. Because they often have at least one or two people on decks, right?
So there's a sampler which is Craig. I think he's number 3.
Yeah.
3. And number 1, no, sorry, it's actually number 0, guys, because they don't play by the rules. So it goes from 0 to 8, not 1 to 9.
We should point out what that means. If you don't know, which I didn't until I've researched this, is that every member of Slipknot has a number.
Yeah.
They also, some of them have alternative names
Yep.
to their own name and a number, and some don't just have a number and not a name.
Yeah, that's right.
It's very confusing.
Just like your Philly G.
Philly G, that's my rap name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They even have like honorary members. I think Ozzy has a number. I
Yeah.
think he's like number 9 or 10, I want to say. But yeah, so 0 is Sid, and he is like a sampler, and 3 is Craig, and he uses deck, so he'll do like they have like the scratchy stuff in some of their songs.
Yeah.
Whereas Sid just strictly does like sample like sounds and vocal like bits from films and things like that.
Yeah.
So they have like a DJ and a sampler. Yeah.
And visually, it's quite amazing, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
Because you're talking about, the rain was coming down. But I imagine of any band for the rain to come out, that's actually one of the most appropriate ones.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
probably adds to
definitely.
the whole ambience.
It really did. It really did. It was like you couldn't have planned that, but it just felt right. It was like their first ever, like festival performance
That's
in the
awesome.
UK. And I mean, this is early days, like you say. So like later on, like it got to the point where the drummer Joey Jordison, who's actually since died, he had this huge rig which his drums on. So he'd do like a drum solo during the live shows where it would literally go like upside down and back to front and everything, and he was just doing these huge drum solos, and it was just it's largely, I love the music, but it's spectacle as well with the live shows, and it's from a long tradition of that kind of thing. So it's like like Alice Cooper, Marilyn Manson, and
Kiss.
it's like exactly,
It does feel
like,
quite born out of glam rock, doesn't it? Sort of,
and it's all part of the show. Why not make it more fun if you can?
Yeah.
Yeah, put on a show. Like, I mean, Alice Cooper, the only reason I like Alice Cooper is because the show is great, and it gets executed on stage and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I remember watching that as a kid going, am I allowed to watch this? And it wasn't even music that I was into, because I don't know if you guys know, but I'm severely into Madonna, Kylie, and any of the
Oh,
DJs.
yeah,
hardly
yeah,
mentioned
I
it, but
heard that,
Yeah, I love them. Not the newer ones. Like, I don't get Dua Lipa. I don't get her. Every song's exactly the same.
Right. I couldn't tell you one of her songs. I mean, not just because I am predominantly into kind of heavier music, but I do not keep up to date with anything. So she might have walked past me on the way here, I wouldn't have known.
Yeah, Sabrina Carpenter, Espresso. I
Recognise me though, weirdly, isn't that strange?
But when they first sort of were, I guess those first few years when you would have seen them actually, because sort of late 90s was actually when they kind of broke through. They started in 95, but broke through.
So
That would have been like the height of their certainly the height of their fame.
and I think they'd done, so they had a really iconic appearance on TFI Friday. I think it might be the first
Yes,
time they
I
had like
remember
a
that
metal
now.
band or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, I think they lost like a cameraman in the mosh pit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I remember watching that live, getting ready for
they
the
love that
weekend.
stuff on TFI Friday, though, didn't they? Chaos.
And I was perfectly the right age. I must have been about 16 when they were coming to the being known.
Yeah.
And there was all these rumors about them, which this is the funny thing about the conspiracy theory. It's the most like the most sanitary thing that they've probably ever done. That they could have been conspiracy theories about way worse things. And it's just like,
that's exactly what George and I was saying before this. Is that of all the things, because there's a lot of legal stuff that's happened with Slipknot. There's some controversy about the way they run things, but actually in terms of like really creating major problems or them doing anything like really dark or wrong, there's not loads of stuff about that. It's actually just far more about this.
they're actually relatively squeaky clean.
Yeah. That we know of.
Yeah,
Or maybe
This is
they
it.
created
This
this
is
conspiracy.
to distract. This is what I'm talking about.
If they were honest, they wouldn't cover their faces.
Exactly, yeah.
So the origins of the theory that Slipknot members are periodically replaced or swapped isn't entirely unfounded. The band's history has seen several lineup changes, particularly in its early years, with various musicians joining and leaving before they solidified their iconic lineup. The mysterious and often secretive nature of the band, compounded by the masks and jumpsuits that conceal their identities, has only fueled speculation. The initial seeds of this theory can be traced back to the band's early days when they performed under pseudonyms and refused to reveal their faces. This practice not only added to their mystique, but also made it difficult for fans to verify the identities of individual members. Over time, as some members left and new ones joined, the idea that the band could seamlessly integrate new faces without public acknowledgement became plausible. I mean, of all the bands for it to happen, for that to do, it's surely the easiest.
Yeah, they're not known for the only thing with that is some of them have gone on to be in other bands, and obviously they can't just carry on wearing the mask.
Yeah.
They could, but so like Corey's in other bands as well. Like Stone Sour is his most probably known one, and Joey Jordison was formed Murder Dolls, and so then everyone knew what they looked like. So kind of like there wasn't as much, and also, but interestingly around that period as well, it was kind of still early days of the internet. It was harder to look,
you could
now
just look
you
it
could
up,
just like, you wouldn't even have to start, you just start the sentence, what do the real, and then it'd be like, members of Slipknot look like, whereas back then it was like, who knows? And but I love that. So I like when things are hidden. It's like I just enjoy that. It's like they've done it for a reason. It's part of the mystique, and I think it's slightly tangential. I don't know if that's a word. Slightly on a tangent, I could say, but sort of related because same wheelhouse of music. But Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails was doing an interview, and they were asking him, like, what does this album mean, that you've just released? And he was like, well, I don't like talking about what it's about because I had an experience once when I loved this song or artist, I can't remember what it was, and then they told me what it meant and it just ruined it for me. And then my image of that song was just gone forever because then I knew the real thing that it was about. And so for me with Slipknot, if they don't want us to know what they look like, fine. Do you know what I mean? It's like, does it matter? Well,
that's the thing. It doesn't matter. It only matters that you enjoy their music and you enjoy the show, surely. Yeah, but people do get very hung up on this sort of thing. But I think it's just people with a lot of time on their hands.
Yeah.
But I don't, a band like that, in a way, with that kind of, I'm going to call it a gimmick, and that's probably going to get attacked by Slipknot Truthians. But
the maggot core, they're
maggot
to, yeah.
Okay.
Is that the name?
But core like CORP, like core of the army, like the Marine Corps. But also it's cool because it looks like corpse written down.
Yeah. I love it. I don't think you could do it now. A band like that couldn't emerge in that way now because you'd almost immediately be able to find out what they really look like and the whole.
Well, that's even like quite an inoffensive. I almost said inane. I'm going to go with it. Inane pop star can't like do anything without people. But, they went to this school actually, or like without even people like trying to undermine them.
Yeah.
Like,
I remember Lady Gaga being interviewed by Jonathan Ross, and it was right at the beginning of everything, so she was really affected, and he kept on trying to get her to say her real name, which is Stephanie Germatia, and she goes, "No, I know I'm Gaga, I'm Lady Gaga," and she was drinking her empty cup of tea.
Yes. Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, but it was really, it got quite tense. Like he didn't give it up to her for a second.
Well, this is probably overlapping with the period when she was in Slipknot as well.
Well, that's why she was wearing the meat dress. Like,
that would fit in.
Yeah,
So the current lineup, as far as we know, is Corey Taylor, Jim Root, Mick Thompson, Sean Crahan, Sid Wilson, Craig Jones, although I thought he left, but maybe I'm wrong there.
Actually, I might have got my numbers wrong. He might have been the second percussionist because as well as a drummer, they have two people that just basically beat the hell out of these huge, they're almost like timpanis. I don't think they call them that, but they're like huge barrels with like a skid on. Sometimes they hit the side of them to get like a metal sound, and sometimes they hit them to make a really. So again, with sonically, when you see them live, like the bass is really like bang because they've got these huge drums as well. Yeah. Sorry, but Karen, you were talking about Craig. I don't think he's in the band anymore. Actually,
yeah, I think there's rumours about that. But anyway, Alessandro Venturella, Jay Weinberg are the current core members, along with Tortilla Man, who was a new percussionist who joined in 2019. Is speculated to be Michael Pfaff. I think that's how you pronounce that.
I don't know. I didn't. Yeah.
But I think they have confirmed that he is in the band now. But there was about 4 years where they just didn't.
Just ignored.
In fact, they didn't. Even, he wasn't. That was the fans that called him Tortilla Man. He was just new member for years.
Yeah. So he's kind of like the Bez of Slipknot.
Yeah. But the thing is, it could be a band of Bez's, really. It could be quite easily. Yeah. So this, I'm not going to go through every. So there's been, I think, about 18 different officially. There's been 18 different changes.
Like Menudo.
Sorry.
Menudo, the band that Ricky Martin's from. Like they just keep changing their lineup.
It's a bit like like in a lot of like K-pop and J-pop, they'll just like if a young member starts to look their age, they'll just get a new one in.
Yeah. Well, not a problem when you got masks. Because actually, when I saw interviews with them, and you realise how long they've been around for, and then you realise, they are actually old.
Yeah, it's like dad rock. They play it on Radio 6 Music now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like it's crazy.
Yeah. So there's some of the key departures and additions. So Anders Korsefny was the original vocalist. He left in 1997. Josh Brainard, who was the original guitarist, he left in 1999. Joey Jordison, drummer, left in 2013. Yeah. Paul Gray was a bassist. He passed away in 2010. And then Chris Fenn, who was a percussionist, who left in 2019. So I think there was quite a lot of legal controversy about Chris Fenn, something to do with that. But there are members who have been there from the start.
Yeah, I think there's 3. Yeah, maybe. So Paul, I think, was there from the beginning. Pretty sure Mick was.
Yeah.
And
I think Sean Graham maybe. Or
Sean,
certainly
the
very
clown
early
face.
on.
Yeah. He was. I think he was one that like started the mask thing as well.
Was he?
Because that apparently they found. I don't know if it was an original. I don't think it was an original, but like a prop, like Michael Myers mask, like when they were moving house or something.
Oh, yeah.
He just started wearing it to band practice, and they all thought it was really lame, and then they caught on. Yeah.
But if you look on TikTok and whatever, there's Michael Slayer, not Michael Myers, on TikTok, and it's a guy dressed up as Michael Myers but in heels, doing twerking and stuff. It's awesome. I love it so much because there's also sequences where he's still a killer, like he's still killing people, and then he's in a boy band with Freddy Krueger and Michael Myers and like Leatherface, and it's just wonderful.
I'd see that. I'd buy
oh my
tickets for
god! Like I was totally like I'm on board.
Yeah,
I'm on board. So like this is just we love our monsters, you know. And, which is why conspiracy theories exist, because we want to scare. There's scary stories that we tell ourselves, you know, or the truth. And I love all this. Like,
but if the music wasn't good,
yes,
the thing is that the gimmick, let's call it, is will only last a certain amount of time. Right? So that is a visual thing, great for a few years. But unless you were releasing good music, people wouldn't consistently keep coming back to go to shows or downloading your music, right?
Yeah, it's not. It's part of it rather than like, oh, and also they wear the mask. You know what I mean? I think anyway, because like I think lyrically and sonically, it's kind of about like enduring suffering and pain and like the limits of which you can put up with and stuff.
Yeah.
And they take that so far as to like, you know, obviously they wear the masks. And this was a rumor I'd heard years ago, but it's actually been confirmed since, was that, and they don't do it anymore, but in the early days, they would just never clean their masks. So like when they were on stage, it was just like sweat, blood, everything.
Yeah.
And it was part of it. It's like, no, like we'll sit in it. You know, this is what it is. We're going to do it.
Sit in the filth.
Properly. And then this rumor, which turned out to be true, was that Sean, he kept a dead crow in a Tupperware box to the point where it became just like practically liquid. And before they go on stage, they just huff it and be sick in their mouth.
Oh, man.
Just to get the whole like depravity and the smell of death in them, like when they were on stage. Yeah.
And that's the thing. They definitely
that
did
one was true. I mean, so with one of the things they do now, well, I've done it for a long time, is every new album there's like a new mask release. So it's kind of like it'll be a variation on the theme. So it's always pretty much the same.
Yeah.
But so like the clown face, like the original one was just like, I think it was just like a fancy dress shop clown mask. It wasn't like a bespoke made thing. But then like, I think the second or third iteration, it was like quite a realistic face with like a pentagram carved into the skin, but it looked really real.
Yeah.
So it's always the same thing, but slightly different sort of thing. So there's a guy that's always had the metal mask, and it just changes. Sometimes the chin's bigger or the eyes are wider or whatever. And I think it's the DJ's nickname is Pinhead, and it is just like it pretty much looks like a gimp mask with just like pins.
Yeah, I've seen that one. It is frightening.
But like, I think sometimes they're just like ridiculously big.
Yeah.
And then there's, I think it's, I can't remember if it's Craig, has the one that it's, again, this is actually, I think it just is a gimp mask. It's just like a leather head thing with a white face, but the nose is like.
Yeah, Pinocchio is called.
Yeah, that's one of his, yeah. And he sort of simulates masturbation with it and stuff. And,
that's always what the big nose was for, not necessarily Pinocchio, but the type of clowns. You know, because there's another conspiracy theory that the Nephilim look like clowns, and all the clowns in history. But I'm getting off one. Yeah, like clowns are.
I wonder if that's where the origin of that maybe for them.
Yeah. Well, wearing masks and wearing weird makeup to evoke an emotion, like it's in every culture.
Yeah.
You know, like dressing up and being creepy, and often that was very, very entertaining. You know, you know, say the modern world of entertainment sort of started in 1901. You know, that was about real people. So Hollywood obviously changed that, but that's where we get bleach blondes, because blonde hair looked better in black and white.
Right, yeah.
But also what people look like. If you look now, women wear drag queen makeup. You you know, because we paint on our faces, you know, contouring, whatever. I mean, you can work miracles. I can look
even
pretty.
just like having bigger eyes would have been better for the screen. And stuff
Absolutely.
like that. Yeah.
Big eyes, big head was the proportion. So like a lot of movie stars had huge heads.
Right.
I'm going to mention her. Joan Crawford has a huge head.
Right. Okay.
But she was one of the great stars of
Yeah.
You've done
back then.
so well in that era.
I have a huge head. I was born at the wrong time. But yes, but dressing up like Slipknot are actually evoking something that was bigger.
Yeah.
I mean, it's certainly visceral. I didn't know about the crow thing.
Yeah.
I'm a bit, oh my God, I don't want to, but because I responded to what they were doing, and I didn't expect to, because I like a good dance beat, and actually has a couple of good dance beats in their stuff. So wasn't my kind of singing.
Yeah.
But that's going to really mess up the editing. I'm so sorry. But yeah.
It's like, are you sure you're not a member of Slipknot?
I would love to. I'm certainly big enough. Like, you know, I could fit in. Like, I could be like,
You could be
the
Mick.
gay member.
What would your name be? So let me go through the names, and you can tell me which.
Because I did not know.
So these are the alternative names. So Sean Crayon is clown.
Yeah.
So the one you were talking about there, which I have to say is a fucking scary mask when you see it.
Because it's the pentagram.
Yeah, it's changed
exactly.
a few times since. I can't even remember what the last one is.
But it's like a bit of evokes a clown.
Yeah. Corey Taylor was just number 8. Jim Root was number 4. Sid Wilson was DJ Starscream and number 0, as you said. Craig Jones was 133 and also number 5. Mick Thompson was number 7. Alessandro Venturella was V-Man. Jay Weinberg was number 1. Michael Pfaff is Tortilla Man, or was speculated to be Tortilla Man. Paul Gray, the Pig, and number 2. Joey Jordison, number 1. Chris Fenn was number 3, and Pinocchio, which was the guy with the long nose, you said. And Greg Welts, Cuddles. I feel like he's got the raw end of the deal.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Ironic nickname, maybe.
Yeah.
It's the mask is a demonic baby, from what I've seen, anyway.
I think that's one of the. I think that's a new one.
Is it?
Maybe, I don't know.
Demonic baby. Oh,
Because I get mixed up now.
that's scary.
That wasn't. I don't think that was an original one.
No, it's not an original one. Yeah.
I mean, what's scarier than Parenthood? Says the gay
Maybe
man.
that's the message.
Maybe that's the message. So what would your Slipknot name be? Philly J?
Yeah. No, I don't think it would be. I'd want a Sugar Babes reference.
Oh.
It'd just be Heidi. So,
Justice for Heidi.
DJ Starscream, V-Man, and Heidi. What would yours be, Will?
Oh, I don't know. He put me on the spot. It's literally the first time I've been asked to be in Slipknot. So much pressure.
He says.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really want to say something funny because that's the point, but also I take it very seriously.
You do take it very seriously. Yeah, that's the thing.
Because this might be your name.
I think this is the most serious we've seen. You're really.
Yeah. I know. I get so earnest when I talk about anything but comedy. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, what would you go with?
Well, I was thinking like fairy.
Yeah.
I quite like fairy, yeah. Because, but I didn't know what Cuddles until you said it. But I was thinking, I want to do something to contrast, but I'd be like a scary fairy.
Yeah,
I mean, I am
obviously,
a scary fairy.
yeah.
Oh, I've got maybe not a name, but what I could contribute.
Tooth fairy.
Well,
Teeth, lots of teeth.
Yeah.
That'd be creepy. Yeah.
Imagine if it wasn't a scary costume, though. It was just
a big fairy costume.
Yeah.
With a mask.
Well, that's like even like so like the early one, like the clown. It was just a clown. I mean, obviously it had John Wayne Gacy vibes.
Yeah.
But I think I would like to play a Carnyx, which is like a medieval instrument that like the pagans, like the Gauls used to have, which is like this huge horn that goes upright, and it looks, the head is like a dragon, and it even has a tongue that vibrates with and it just makes this huge sound, which would terrify the Romans because they already thought, there's these crazy barbarians here. And I just like to be sat in the corner playing one of them.
I think there's a club of owners of those things. I've seen it on, it's a very small club, but I think there is one in the UK, somewhere in the West Country. It's like 20 of them get together and they play these things from all over the world.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So maybe it'd be gallbladder.
Yeah.
And I'd play a Carnyx.
Oh, I like that. I didn't know
harmonica, why not? Just lighten it up a bit.
Yeah.
I didn't know that's what a Carnyx was. There was a comic book when I was a kid growing up called Father Shandor. It's from the Hammer horror movies. He's a character in a couple of the movies, and he fights a demon called Carnyx. And I did not know that was. I just thought it was a cool name.
It does sound like something you'd pick up in Boots, though.
yeah. I've got this rash. So on the day after Paul Gray's death on the 25th of May 2010, the band, without their masks...
Mood change?
Yeah, sorry. I just brought this crashing down. This is relevant,
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, he died.
Have some respect, guys.
Yeah.
Come on.
The band, without their masks, held a formal press conference. They had appeared unmasked a few times before, mostly in behind-the-scenes videos in the early days. So you're going back to what you were saying before, because actually in the very early days, there wasn't much... there wasn't many videos of them or shots of them without their masks on, and those that were sort of, I think they would have been, I guess, DVD extras or those sort of things, sort of like behind the scenes, and you see glimpses of them or on occasional things. But this was the first time I think they'd all appeared without their masks.
Like it was formal, it was deliberate.
As a band, exactly. There was a point.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but we're not. The conspiracy we're talking about isn't actually the official changes here. We know about the official changes. They announce those. This is more about the idea that they are just rotating people constantly throughout the band. And what you were going back to saying earlier about the fact that a lot of them are in different bands now. I think most of them actually are in different bands.
Yeah.
It does make sense then, because you would think if they're sort of spread across a number of different things, getting 9 of them together to tour.
Well, I've been in bands, and I mean, just at a small local level, and just getting 4 people in a room at one time sometimes.
Yeah.
It's just like, that was difficult without actually being like a pro band or anything, let alone like, families, other bands, press, all this stuff that comes into being in a band. 9 people.
Yeah.
So in terms of plausibility, I can see why they would do that, whether they do or not.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's one of those where I think that's what a great conspiracy theory is. One where there's no real consequences. Like, it doesn't affect anyone's life if this is true.
Yeah.
Like, no one's, going poor or hungry because this is true.
You say that, but the truth is they're very angry about that whole idea.
Yeah. But again, there's something about the heavy metal community that really, really, like, things have to be just so for people that are like, we don't believe in the rules. But I think that's the best kind of theory where there's enough truth. It's like, that could make sense, rather than just like, I don't know, like the royal family of lizards. It's like, well, there's nothing that's like, but why though?
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Like, it's a harmless conspiracy.
Okay, I can see why they would do that. Yeah, so so it's fun to believe in, but I don't actually believe it. I think it's because I don't want to. It's a bit like the mask thing. I don't want to know what they look like.
Yeah,
I like the idea of what do they look like under there. There's this, there could be, and playing into the themes of it and stuff. It's just like they represent, different types of suffering and pain.
That's what I was thinking when I was reading about this is why they're so obsessed and angry about it. Because it surely, if you listen to the music and you enjoy the music and you're enjoying the live shows, it doesn't matter. But then I wonder if it's the thing about some people feeling shortchanged if they don't get the band that they went to see. But then
I guess so. Yeah, I think I mentioned this before we started recording about MF Doom.
Oh, I love MF Doom.
Yes.
Where like I didn't know this. I think it was when I was reading up about this a bit, and people were just like really. Can I swear on this podcast?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They really flipped off at him because like.
Okay, let's speak that out, George.
Sorry, I didn't want to. Can we start again?
Yeah.
Because they would go to the concert and it'd be not even just like they were doing a bad image. They weren't even trying to sound like MF Doom. It was just like it just sent someone else in.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was just a trolling thing or just like, I just can't be bothered. I really don't know. I've not read into it. But it's the same thing. It's like, I might get the songs and this rapper might even be better than MF Doom, but that's not the point. It's like, I paid for this.
Yeah.
MF Doom.
And I'm a fan of the band, not just because like, well, why not just go and see a tribute band? Spend $5 then. You know what I mean? It's especially with that, it's like, because there are loads of Slipknot tribute bands as well. When it's like, because it's expensive. So that's why I think I've only ever seen them once, is because they were on at a festival that I'd already paid to go to.
Yeah.
Which was my like GCSE, like, oh, well done, you've done your GCSEs present, was a ticket to this festival. So I've never
I saw Faith No More and my equivalent of that.
Say again?
I saw Faith No More.
Oh,
and my
really?
equivalent of
That's
that.
pretty
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, I just finished my A-levels with all my friends. They were all drinking. I was not. But I remember seeing Faith No More and just thinking, oh my God, they were amazing. And the act on before them was the Disposable Heroes of Hypocrisy.
I don't know them.
Oh, check them. Like they
Great name.
So you guys don't know them?
No.
Check them out. They shone bright for like a year, and
What are you doing after this?
But they were amazing. They were amazing.
Hey, say the name again.
Disposable Heroes of Hypocrisy. Their big song, although all their stuff was great, was called Television. Television, Drug of a Nation.
It's about as 90s a name as you can possibly get, but it is beautiful.
And it just like, oh my God, television's a drug and I'm addicted. And that was the first time I realized that I watched too much television.
I did have another opportunity to see them, I just remembered. Which is, so before they'd done their first festival, they were doing just like a tour to get their name out there in the country and stuff. And they were playing, so I grew up near Manchester, and they were playing it in Manchester, and a friend of mine had tickets and he had a spare one. And I didn't go because I was scared, because there's all these rumors about like, and then some of them were true. Like sometimes that one of them would like set himself on fire and run through the crowd. Like, and I'd never been to a live show before. Like, I'd seen like my mates' bands and stuff like down at the social club, but I'd never been to like a real show, or certainly not like a heavy metal band or anything. And he was offering me a ticket for free, and I was too scared to go, so I turned it down.
Wow.
You're a gentle soul. You're a gentle soul.
I was reading about the sort of looking at their gig list. They don't do that many festivals. I think that's probably why, because festival organisers are worried about the risk of them doing that.
Probably insurance problems, yeah. Because they very physical performers. So there's a story about, Corey Taylor, the singer, he, it turned out, I'll just do the short version of the story. It turned out he had a broken neck for like 7 years or something.
Oh my God.
And didn't know. So he was just like, doing a show, and he fell off the stage and felt funny, and he was like, "Oh, that kind of hurts." Carried on doing the show, full, 100%. And it was the next day, I was like, "Oh, I feel all right." Never got it looked into, and then he had this sort of recurring pain, funnily enough. And then eventually, he got it looked at, and he said, "Yeah, you've got it's sort of like fused back together, but you've got a broken neck." Oh
my Lord!
And he was out doing world tours, every night. It's insane.
Maybe he's just channeling the pain through.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what's my excuse?
So I've got a hangnail. Can I pull out tonight? Fetch me milk of the poppy. I have a hangnail.
So, evidence supporting the theory. Several points of evidence are often cited by proponents of the theory that Slipknot members are replaced or substituted without fanfare. So, visual and performance discrepancies. Fans have occasionally noted differences in the physical stature, performance style, and even musical technique of certain members during live performances. While these could be attributed to natural variations or personal evolution, some interpret them as signs of different individuals assuming the roles. When I read this, I kind of thought, over time, given the band are 30 years old, your posture's going to change, your physical stature's going to change quite a bit.
But it's a bit like, with regards to musicality and stuff, it's a bit like handwriting. It's like even if you try and like mask your handwriting, like an expert can tell it was you that wrote that. Yeah. And it's so with like guitar playing, it's like you will always play. If you play an F, you'll play it that way forever. Kind of thing, chord, not just a note. But and so I suppose if you were a proper musicologist or whatever, you could probably study that and say pretty definitively. So it's one of those where, like, if that is true, who wants to do it though? You could prove it. Yeah. Basically, is what I'm saying. Is you could be like, yeah, he doesn't play the guitar how he plays the guitar. But with this one, I don't know if you mentioned it, but there's one of them is that like the guitarist sometimes has tattoos on his hands and sometimes doesn't.
Yes, yeah. So I was going to come to this. It is actually Jim Root, isn't it? I think. Oh no, Jim Root.
Number 4.
Yeah, I can't remember which number he is, but
I can't.
Yeah, number 4. No, number 4. Bang on. Yeah, you're right.
I'm just doing my own little test.
But because and there's videos of this that he does sometimes have hand tattoos. Yeah. Other times he doesn't. That's a very difficult thing to cover up.
I mean, again, it's when you're talking about from the perspective of fans, it's like, have they done the due diligence? Or they just like, do they love the idea that this is a fun thing to do? Yeah. And they just deliberately pick pictures that were before we had the tattoos, for example.
Yeah.
So unless these are like time stamped and dated, it's like, how can you prove it? Unless it was like, oh, backstage he didn't have it, but then on stage he did on the same video.
Yeah.
But I don't know how thoroughly they looked into it.
Quite thoroughly, by the
because some people like that is their fandom, is like trying to prove a thing, and that becomes what the truth is almost not enough, and they want there to be more to it.
Yeah, the obsessive fandom and their worldview. I mean, I've seen that with loads of, like, look at the Star Wars fandom. Like, there used to be a really successful movie called Star Wars. It's over now, but people are really still passionate about it. And now there's just terrible TV shows.
I also like the idea that, because I was thinking about, who would this serve? Because bands do this, like you say. Like so, sometimes there's Queens of the Stone Age. They sometimes have Dave Grohl on drums and stuff like that. And I mean, maybe it's just that because they can't get away with it, they have to be honest.
Yeah.
So there's that element too, but it's a thing. Like people know, like sometimes, they had this guitarist on tour because that one was sick or whatever. It's not like why hide it, and then you start thinking, and this is the thing with conspiracy theories, isn't it? It's like, well, no, because what if they want to cultivate that to create a controversy?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, but no, it's always the same people because that garners like some degree of like controversy, and that controversy sells.
Absolutely.
So, because I thought it'd be so funny if they just like really trolled like their fans, and they just had like a black guy playing the bass all the time. But no, that's Paul. It's still like.
Well, you're right. As a marketing tool, I'm not saying this was the intention from the outset, but there are thousands of videos on YouTube about this, right? And controversies and people speculate about, like the one you sent me, and articles about it. And so just getting your name out there and just building a profile and building mystique, and even if people are angry about it, they're still talking about you. And they're still talking about you 30 years later.
Think about your YouTube count, video count.
Yeah.
People are going to be watching it over and over again to see like, no, he looks different there.
Checking. There's the tattoo. Where's the tattoo? Or a
That's
mole.
where we're going wrong with our YouTube videos.
Create a controversy. There's never the same two guys.
Yeah.
You have got almost like a joke shop, like, face, with like if you took your glasses off, like, would your nose come with it sort of thing?
Yeah, it does. Who do we get in to substitute for us?
Well, clearly, I think it would have to be one of the Skarsgårds for David, I think.
Or both.
Yeah. And maybe, the Cheeky Girls still going? Could you get them in for you?
Yeah. And then they can rotate, so fine. There's a deal.
Get Bananarama in.
Yes.
There's only two of them now.
Already?
Yeah.
Where's the other one gone?
Just
Siobhan Fahey occasionally
called
steps
Barna
in.
now.
Bana. They were great.
They were great.
But we're Bananarama.
Well,
Constant
that's
kissing
the
and
real
Francis
conspiracy, isn't it? Yeah.
Wear a Bananarama.
Yeah. No one's talking about
We'll
it.
get to it. We'll get to it.
Come on, Biden, do your job.
I went to see Foo Fighters the other day, and the last time I saw them was at Glastonbury last year.
Yeah.
And Dave Grohl brought his daughter out, Violet, to do a number in Glastonbury, and he did the same thing the other day. So pretty much a year apart, these gigs, and her hair was a different colour.
Whoa, seriously?
Same person? Seems unlikely, doesn't it?
I know.
So bands do it. They do it.
Well, funny you mentioned Dave Grohl, because there's another band. They're kind of like sort of like this generation's Slipknot in that metal fans hate them. They're called Ghost.
Ah, yes.
And
yes.
I don't know if they all wear masks, but the singer is called like Papa something, and he has this really like in the first iteration he looked like a pope, and he had this like pope's hat on.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I've seen those pictures.
I wish I could remember the last name, but Dave Grohl has stood in for one of the members.
Yeah,
at some
he
point.
officially he has.
Yeah, yeah.
That's been yeah.
So it's just funny that you mentioned him.
Yeah,
really. Not about Triv.
Just saying. Violet, not always Violet. Anyway, mask and costume
Sometimes
evolution.
purple.
Yeah.
Depends who you ask.
Mask and costume evolution. The band's masks and costumes have evolved significantly over the years, as you were saying. Well, while this is part
get your
of
own thing, Phil.
Yeah, okay. Should have researched better. While this is part of their creative expression, it also provides a convenient means to obscure changes in personnel. A new member could don an updated mask without arousing suspicion. Yeah, we've pretty much said that. Inconsistent interviews and public appearances. Observant fans have pointed out inconsistencies in interviews and public appearances. Differences in voice, demeanour and mannerisms have led to speculation that not all individuals identified as a particular member are the same person. So I'm assuming these interviews must have been with masks on, because you'd know if it wasn't.
Yeah. So, I've only ever seen them without masks on, not in a Slipknot context, if you know what I mean. So, maybe, like you say, another band, or like this, again, talking about the dad rock element. Corey Taylor's been a guest on QI, you know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't get much more like mainstream, but I've never seen them performing or doing like a thing of Slipknot without their masks on. So I assume with masks on.
Yeah.
Mm.
Off-stage activities and side projects. The members of Slipknot are involved in numerous side projects and off-stage activities, which sometimes overlap with the band's rigorous touring and recording schedules. This has led to questions about how they manage their time and whether substitutes are used to maintain the band's continuous presence. Rumours are also abound that Skrillex DJ'd for them a couple of months.
Apparently. That's one of the theories.
Yeah. Satyricons Frost sat in on the drums.
Yeah.
written about that as well.
Apparently.
So those and also the Jim Roots hand tattoos are actually probably they're sort of the central things about driving this theory.
Yeah, and I think there was some, and again, they were anonymous, so which does actually sound like a black metal name, but I'm thinking of Euronymous. But they went on record as saying I was one of said stand-ins, and they said there's a few for I think it was number 4. I've got just so many names in my head. Jim, that was it. Because they said they didn't just pick anyone; they had to be like really, really good at their instrument, obviously, but also have a physical resemblance, so like about the same height, about the same weight and stuff. But with it being anonymous, like we don't know if it really is true, or because but with it being anonymous, what they're getting out of it, it's not helping their career.
I did wonder. I mean, I guess they're getting, because I think that Corey and I think it's Mick set up a company, didn't they? And they effectively. It's a business, basically. Like any band is a business, but they effectively run it, and everyone else is an employee of the business. But your job is you're in the band. So I guess in a way, like bringing in a temp, for a day, you pay them whatever you pay a normal concert fee for, and then they go home.
Like Nicole Scherzinger and the Pussycat Dolls, they kept turning around.
I mean, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, such a simple parallel. So there's been quite a lot of legal controversy. So in 2023, their keyboardist Craig Jones left. Slipknot shared a photo of the new masked individual replacing him on their social media, but offered nothing in regards to their identity. Some users on Twitter have questioned whether the new member is really just Jones himself pretending to be someone new. But there have been a few other musicians' names floating around, including Sackbed, who's a keyboardist that's toured with Korn, collaborated with Effervescence, and auditioned for Nine Inch Nails, among other projects. I mean, I actually thought that would be quite cool if he did leave, but he didn't leave. I thought that's I don't know why you do it, but I think it's fun.
But I think I sort of alluded to this earlier, but I love what I would find way better than it was conspiracy theory. It was a deliberate one, just to fuck with people.
Yeah,
so I can change the flip, but they just the idea that it's like that is more fun to me than it being a cover up. That it was all actually deliberate to make people talk about it in that way and overthink things and suggest their own theories and stuff.
Because it's free marketing, isn't it?
People, but also just
it's the narrative.
Screwing with people, it's fun.
It's exciting.
It's
the same reason why Hillary Clinton has a body double.
Yes,
is that right?
You are very convinced about this, aren't you?
Yeah. No. We know who the body double is for Hillary Clinton. So do you know this? Did you know the story about Hillary Clinton? She collapsed during she was doing her campaign and she collapsed, which was at a 9/11.
Oh, that's when she was running for
president, and she collapsed, and you could.
How did she get on?
Well, apparently she was very, very ill,
right?
And but like half an hour later, a woman comes out who's supposedly Hillary Clinton from Chelsea Clinton's apartment, which had been quite close to where the event was happening, and saying, "Oh, I'm fine, just very, very hot day," which I can relate to because I am a sweaty puddle right now. But that wasn't Hillary Clinton; it was a woman called Teresa Barnwell. Teresa Barnwell is Hillary Clinton's double,
right.
And like how many pictures have we seen of Joe Biden, and he's wearing a mask because it's not Joe Biden.
Well, we know he's dead.
He's dead, or at least if he's still alive.
Was he ever alive? Well.
I feel so sorry for him, but definitely I think I mean, obviously this is entertainment. It's very, very exciting, but to bring it a bit more serious, there are doubles everywhere. People get replaced all the time. Look at Avril Lavigne. That's not the one that's not complicated.
We know that.
And Billy Shears, of course, the great Billy Shears. One of the greatest performers.
Yeah. Paul McCartney. I think there's like footage of this. I wish I could remember what he said about, but someone, and I think it was in an interview or something, said to Sean the clown. He read out that Paul McCartney had heard Slipknot and said more like shit not.
He's so witty, that man.
Yeah, I know. But Sean's response was great, and it would be great if I could remember it. But it was basically, it was basically on the lines of like, if Paul McCartney says his shit, you've got to roll with it. You know what I mean? It's like, this guy was in the fucking Beatles. You know, it's like, he's right. You know, like,
I have to say, it's quite a lot of interviews with Sean on YouTube. He does always just come across like a really tired dad.
yes, he really has got that energy. hasn't
Even
he?
back in the day, like when he was
Sorry, it's not even a recent thing. Like, I know he's old now, but you go back 20 years, he's still just a tired dad.
Yeah.
Some people are always middle-aged.
Yeah,
Some people,
but yet really witty with it, really sort of sharp with it.
I don't know if it's him that does that, but there's a few interviews where one of them just walk off and no one seems to like notice or care. They're just like, oh, you know, again, just stick another one in there. Who's going to know?
I
you
guess,
know?
yeah.
Imagine that in an interview and there's just like literally just a dummy sat there with a mask on.
So someone on Reddit, on the other hand, made an entire post explaining why they think the mystery member could be Nathan Church, who founded and played keyboard for the band Down the Sun. A fellow Reddit user pointed out that Church is currently accepting appointments at his tattoo shop in Missouri, which would make it unlikely that he's currently touring with Slipknot. However, someone on Twitter also posted the theory about Church and shared an old photo of him with Sean Clown Crayon. Some have guessed that the mystery musician was Vassell, the vocalist for Sleep Token. A couple of people on Twitter replied to the photo of the new member simply writing Vassell. The bands were on tour together, and Corey Taylor has even said that Sleep Token remind him of Slipknot's early years. I think it wouldn't be very hard for them to just slide someone in there. If you said, do you want to be in Slipknot for a day?
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much anyone in any band
100%, yeah.
is going to go, yeah, why would?
Yeah. I mean, but yeah, and then, but that's the other thing too is the legal side of it. They would have to have some sort of really, really strong NDR, is it they call it?
Yeah.
NDA, sorry. You know, yeah. Because like, you know, even if you didn't tell people, you'd say like, I'm going on tour with Slipknot this summer. Can you get someone else to do the thing? You know?
Yeah.
And then that would easily just like, there'd be so many like at least stories, maybe not corroborated or whatever, but just like, oh yeah, because you know, I was the roadie for this band and I heard them talking back. You know, it would have come up. I think.
Yeah.
I think.
I would agree. It seems
it's like music's like comedy. It's just that everyone's just talking. There's 100 WhatsApp groups discussing everyone they hate. You know, he was in Slipknot for 3 weeks. That's why, you know, like.
Because there are tribute comedians, aren't there? There's an actual.
There's a few, yeah.
There's a Peter Kay tribute comedian,
and he makes top money.
Yeah,
he makes serious.
There's
money.
a McIntyre tribute.
The ones that I find weirdest are when
tribute.
yeah. No, I am the tribute.
We couldn't afford the real one.
I'm the tribute to Jim Davison. But there are. What I find weird about it is when it's the same with bands. It's like when there is a real one you can see. Why would you go and see? So some of them make sense.
Yeah.
Because that person doesn't tour anymore. There's like Tommy Cooper ones which makes sense. You know, like. But then when it is just like, you could just go and see them.
Yeah.
And there's something different about. Maybe there isn't, but about playing someone else's songs than just doing someone else's jokes and aping their mannerisms. You know, I find it really
because you're doing an impression of someone.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
Which is
there was someone on RuPaul's Drag Race. There was one of the girls on there did Nikki Glazer's set.
Oh, I heard about this the other day.
And I watched it. Went, that's Nikki Glazer's jokes. What are you doing? And it was all okay.
Yeah,
because they were doing a drag show, and I understand that up to a point because drag shows like they mime the records and whatever, and there's art in that, whatever. Like or they do Barbra Streisand and whatever, but it felt different because it was Nikki. It was Nikki, even down to the way Nikki phrased things. Because Nikki has a very good delivery. She's a great comedian, and it kind of like I'm not okay with that.
Yeah, that's dicey. Yeah,
Well,
there's in terms of the comedy tribute acts. I came across this by accident. Have you ever been on the website? It's like Comedy CV. I think I put my CV on there when I was quite new.
Yeah. Everyone tells you to, then you realise it does absolutely nothing.
Does nothing.
For you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. Well, you say that, but I've made some big connections with film directors since then. But
you're in Slipknot.
Yeah. But I think because I'm right near the end, because I'm W for William.
Yeah.
And I think right at the end they have a list of like the tribute comics that are on there, so you can look at like the list of them, and the best one. Billy Connelly.
Oh,
okay. I want to see. I want to see
a tribute name.
Yeah.
It's not just like but yeah. And again, okay, he doesn't perform anymore. Fair enough. It's
but he's not dead yet.
But the other ones I was talking to. Have you had Jen Ives on yet? She loves conspiracy theories. You must have her on.
No, but we will.
Yeah. She was telling me about. Because she used to go on a lot of kind of like Butlins type holidays.
Is that strict comedian Jen Ives?
That's right. Yeah.
The straightest comedian we've ever heard of. Yeah.
We'll have to explain that when we bring her on. Sorry. Because that makes no sense to anyone other than us.
Yeah. She used to go on kind of like, Butlins type holidays with her dad when she was younger. And they saw like a tribute album, but he did his own material, but just in the style of. So it wasn't like he was
that's
just
okay.
doing.
I'm okay with that.
I find that weirder.
Oh, I
So if you can write, why are
There's
you
a
doing
lot of
someone else's
20-something
acts?
comedians doing a similar thing.
Well, it could be a bit of confidence. I mean, like,
Yeah, this was deliberate, I should add.
yeah.
well, if you look at John Mulaney, his first album, he's really reflective of Mike Birbiglia because he was touring with Mike Birbiglia at the time. Even though John Mulaney is one of the most unique voices, but I didn't know Mike Birbiglia, so I just heard John Mulaney, and then years later, I with Old Man in the Pool and whatever, I found Mike Birbiglia, and he's amazing. And I went, oh, John Mulaney is really kind of a tribute act, not a tribute, that's not unfair, but the rhythms are there. I mean, he comes out of it. He's not really that close to him, but you can hear it. Because if you're really into stuff, you can hear the rhythms.
Yeah.
But this is the funny thing with the music thing is that it's literal. So if that is how the song goes. Do you know what I mean? Whereas with comedy, you can spot like, oh, he doesn't,
Yeah.
he hasn't got the same kind of like, timbre or something, or like he hasn't got the same kind of, or like menace or whatever, or like gentleness or whatever. Any adjective you can think of. With music, it's like, well, that sounded like that song.
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, I think
There are
Liam
probably
Gallagher did a
music
gig last
purists out
week.
there that will say otherwise, and I think that there is. It's not completely cut and dry that, but it would be really hard to, as long as they're playing the songs as they were recorded, then how would you know it was someone else?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And if you're a great tribute act, you probably would do. I always wonder with a tribute comic is how would they deal with a heckle? Do you know what I mean? Because that's the acid test, right?
Yeah.
Keep the show going.
Yeah, because you're acting. You've learnt lines.
Yeah.
You're delivering it as an actor.
As like a monologue, yeah. That's the problem I have because I do one-liners. I practically do a monologue. So when I've always struggled with audience interaction, so
Unless the Undertakers are in.
Look, Billy, I've seen you, and you're always great.
Thank you.
This is just leading him trying to get you onto OnlyFans. You know that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
No,
I'm also very hot and sweaty in here, so I'm up for anything right now. That's fine.
So counter arguments. Trying to break it
I'm
back
still
on
going on about that Slipknot thing. Jesus, man.
We've got to get an hour out of this. Counter arguments. While the theory is intriguing, there are strong counter arguments to refute the idea that Slipknot members are regularly replaced without acknowledgement. Official statements of transparency. The band has been relatively transparent about its lineup changes in recent years. For instance, the departures of Joey Jordison and Chris Fenn were publicly acknowledged, and the replacements were introduced, albeit sometimes under pseudonyms. This is a fair argument, is that, well, they've changed the lineup many times, and they've always just announced
But that's a lineup.
Yeah, I
So it's like
guess
if you're doing a live show and it's like, oh no,
Chris is ill.
yeah,
Let's ship in
then
Dave.
and then it's like, but if they were honest about it and that did happen, I wouldn't be like, well, I don't want to go then.
Yeah.
I'd still go. It's like what
Yeah.
I'm saying. It happens all the time. You see
Yeah.
a band and say, oh, they've got a different guitarist in because someone's ill or whatever.
Especially with nine members.
Yeah,
Like, if
but maybe
one's not-
if it is that frequent that people just feel like, well, are we even seeing the same band? And they might not want to go because it's like, if they were honest about it every time, then there comes a point where it's like, well, is that Slipknot? It's like Trigger's Broom.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So, whereas,
Like when Keisha left the Babes.
Yeah,
Final pillar to fall.
Yeah.
It wasn't the Babes.
Wasn't
yeah,
the Babes anymore.
exactly.
No point in going to see them.
So, I mean, but the one, even the people that believe in the theory agree with this, is that Corey's the only one they never changed because you can't
Yeah.
pretend to sound. You can, but it would be much harder.
What if there's like a legion of Corey replacements and everyone else is
He's the
legitimate?
only one
because
that's
he's
replaced,
it's his company. Well, I can get
Yeah.
anyone to come in.
Yeah.
There's a whole boot camp.
Yeah, someone without a broken neck, ideally. Yeah. Unless they just interview purely people with broken necks that sound a lot like him.
Yeah. Really
just for the
angry,
authenticity, yeah.
angry older men, yeah.
Oh, I haven't got a broken neck back. We can sort it out. I'm available. I've got the dates free. Like, yeah.
Technical skills and musical consistency. Slipknot's music is technically demanding, and each member brings a unique set of skills and creativity to the band. The consistent quality of their music and live performances suggest that the same core group of musicians is responsible for their output. That is a fair point, is that it would be, I mean, maybe with some instruments, but that sort of harmony or the sort of gelling of the group would be difficult to do if you're bringing someone in for a very short period of time, I would guess. I guess it depends what they're doing. Like,
Probably, but live bands have to rehearse everything to the nth degree. So it's like, it's probably more a case of, do we get on with this person? That's because it sounds like they have a lot of infighting and stuff.
Yeah,
If anything, it's like, well, just get
definitely
that guy.
does what they do.
He's more chill, you know.
Fan engagement and media scrutiny. In the age of social media and constant media scrutiny, it would be incredibly challenging for Slipknot to replace members without anyone noticing. Fans are highly observant and any significant changes would likely be exposed quickly, which I guess we've already talked about. A personal bonds and chemistry. The chemistry and camaraderie among the members are evident in their performances and interactions. Such dynamics are difficult to replicate without involving personnel and suggest a stable, cohesive group.
I agree.
Yeah, it is spread safe. You're fucking about on stage. You're fucking about with your mates, and you know what the boundaries are, right? You know what they're going to do. You bring some dude in who you only rehearse with, because you're not going to be messing around like that. Probably, imagine rehearsals in case somebody breaks their neck.
But also, I mean, like, I'm just going to I agree with that completely. But I guess the counter argument would be, you know, and the idea that it's a performance. You know, it's not like everything is deliberate.
Yeah.
So the way you behave on stage, that's a performance as much as the music. So if you can learn a song, you can learn how someone interacts with people on stage. And
true.
So
Maybe
I believe it. Let's just say that.
I think it's hard. I think we sort of covered this, but it is hard to remain elusive in the 2020s now. Like we couldn't start a band like this now without it being exposed. But I think it's for them to the fact that they've kept up the charade of the masks and the image in itself is impressive.
The masquerade, if you will.
And that's why he does one-liners, guys.
Please don't judge my comedy on that.
Some fans now find the whole withholding the new band member identity for years thing quite annoying, especially most of the time the fan base already figures out their identity early on. Most people figured out the new member was Zach Bird about a week in. The only good thing about it is it probably does help to prevent people from harassing the new members from people who aren't happy about who they're replacing. But it is still really necessary for Michael Pfaff not to have a name for 4 years. Till Tinnerman wasn't even his official name. He was just known as New Guys, as we were saying. So I think probably, but I think that's probably fans getting older and going, oh, we're still doing this. But if you're just getting into Slipknot now, you probably would find that, yes, it's a bit corny, but it's a thing. It's an identity thing. Is it fun?
It's fun.
The theory.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. Like I said, it doesn't hurt anyone.
Yeah.
You know, no one's losing work or sleep or money out of this, apart from the people that do believe in it.
Yeah.
Maybe. But
that's part of their enjoyment. It's like, you like the pain of it.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
And just the mystery. It's fun because the mystery is like, what if? Like, again, even if the answer is yes, then is fine.
I agree. I think it doesn't really matter.
It's not like we're sleepwalking into some dystopian future if it's true. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We are walking into a dystopian future.
Oh, I'm wide awake. I'm just up for it. I'm not sleepwalking into anything.
So the conclusion, the theory that Slipknot isn't always the same 9 people taps into the band's enigmatic presence and the human fascination with mystery and conspiracy. While there are elements that make the theory intriguing and seemingly plausible, substantial evidence and logistical counter-arguments support the idea that Slipknot's members, despite their masks and personas, are a consistent group. The band's evolution, transparency about lineup changes, and the unique skills of its members suggest that the 9 individuals behind the masks are indeed the core of the Slipknot legacy. I think if you've been in the band, even for a day,
You said that like you were reading it out. That's incredible.
Yeah, I know. Incredible. So are Slipknot always the same band?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I don't think it matters.
I don't think it matters
I think
either.
It's the spirit. Like the ABBA experience is still ABBA.
Yes.
Yeah, but then, yeah. But that, I mean, with this specifically, again, like I said, I've never properly paid to see them. So, you know, like maybe my parents will be annoyed if they found out that they bought me a ticket to see a band that wasn't the real band.
Yeah.
But yeah, why not?
Yeah. Well, would you like to look into the camera and tell people where they can find you, what you're doing, anything like that?
Yeah. I'm not doing a show this year, did I?
That's how we got him.
Yeah, I'm going to see a band on Friday that no one else likes if anyone wants to come. But yeah, no, I'm not doing a show this year. I'm doing a show next year in Edinburgh, so I'm very slowly working on that, if you can believe that. And just follow me on the socials, I guess. I'm on TikTok, Instagram.
What's the social handle?
At It's William Stone. Which I've made a real rod for my back there, because I'll say it's William Stone. They're like, William Stone's like, no, it's William Stone. Like, yeah, William Stone's like, no, it's William Stone.
Yeah.
Or I'll over-explain it like that when people get it straight away, and they're like, yeah, I know, you dickhead.
So ITS William Stone.
Yeah.
At ITS William Stone.
Yeah. Let's go with that.
You have made it hard for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go see Will live. He is terrific, particularly if you're a funeral director. So, would you like a heavy metal joke to end the podcast?
Oh, like you wouldn't believe.
Okay. What's Santa's favourite heavy metal band?
Slayer.
Yes! That's why he does what he does. That's the end of the podcast. Thanks for listening. Bye!
Please like and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. The more lovely subscribers we get, the more episodes we'll make. And follow us on Instagram and TikTok for regular updates and exclusive videos at BelieveConspiracyPod. We love you. Bye!